Yo, 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 salute, salute, salute. Welcome back, community members, supporters. Thank you once again. Oh man, yesterday was an insane day. And I just felt like I had to come on here and speak about what happened yesterday. So for those there's a couple of you that might not be aware, some of you are aware, but I definitely needed to speak on this because this directly impacted not just myself, but the community overall. And it brought up an even larger topic that I don't really I haven't really previously spoke on or made a video about, but I feel like it's very, very important to talk about it, to discuss it, to highlight it, and to focus on it, right? And that being one, the overall efficacy of these sports books, right? And also the huge responsibility that we have or that you have to be monitoring and checking your bets as in regards to how they're graded, right? And when I talk about graded, that refers to if it was paid out, if it's a win or a loss. Now, if you're somebody who bets recreationally, occasionally, this is a very simple thing to do. But if you bet very often, it can be a little bit more confusing, right? But the number one thing that I want people to take away from this video is you have to monitor and double and triple check how these bets are being graded, right? Because the responsibility is on you. And I've seen sports books incorrectly grade bets all the time. It's happened to me several times. I know it's happened to a bunch of other people, and it's a big problem, right? It really is a big problem. Now, I'm not sure exactly what these processes are for these betting platforms, right? When you talk about MGM, Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings, uh, BetDog, like whatever it is. I'm not sure what these processes are to grade these bets, right? But you would assume that it's some sort of program. I wouldn't think they would leave it up to human error. But it's astonishing to me at what rate some of these bets get graded incorrectly. And last night was just like for me, last night was just not only was it so frustrating, but it's like in some cases you can understand why there might be confusion. Last night was just not one of these cases. So for those of you that don't know, the MLB All-Star game was last night, right? American League versus the National League. They like to call it the Midsummer Classic. Okay? Midsummer Classic. So for people that actually enjoy baseball, it's one of the things that they look forward to throughout the year. You got the best and the biggest and the brightest stars from all over that come together to put on a show for the fans. It's supposed to be for the fans, right? Quote unquote, the fans. Anyway, last night, so with these type of games, obviously, even the NBA All-Star game, NHL All-Star game, these games are obviously full, fake, predetermined, right? It's a scripted game. And how ironic that yesterday um, that was the first year that because the game was tied after 9 innings, that they actually went to what was called a swing off. Now, a swing off was something that was collectively bargained back in 2022. Um, there would not be no more ties in the All Star game, which I agree with. I don't think there should ever be a tie in the All Star game. It's kind of corny. Um, so yeah, a swing off, and the way a swing off works is if the game is tied at the end of 9 innings, 9 full innings, um, each team, the American League and the National League, picks three people um, to represent their team in what's known as a swing off. And a swing off is you get three swings, and whichever team hits the most home runs collectively between the three people wins the game. All right. Now, this isn't the fact that it went to a swing off. Okay, cool. It's a creative element to add some excitement to the end of what would be a normally another boring MLB game. Now, where this got really, really interesting was So as you can see in the background here, I have so you guys can check it out. Give me 1 second. So it says, based on recent reports and discussions, it appears there might be some issues with Caesar Sportsbook regarding the payouts for the MLB All Star game yesterday. Right now, because this game went to a swing off, what Caesar Sportsbook decided to do was to avoid all bets on this game, all across the board. If you bet on the American League, it was a void bet. If you bet on the National League, it was a void bet. Now, the National League did end up winning. And I do want to say salute to my community members, to my investors yesterday, everybody who purchased my MLB All Star Game winner, which was the National League, and they thankfully they ended up winning the game, right? But because it went to a swing off, right? Caesar Sportsbook decided to void all bets. Now this got people going crazy because the irony of this situation is not only did they decide to void the bets on this game, right? But they decided to pay out on Kyle Schwarber as the MVP, who did not record a hit in the game, but was a significant part of the swing off. Right, he hit home runs in the extra innings swing off. Now, the irony in that is, okay, if you want to say that you're not paying out on the bet for the game because technically after 9 innings it was a draw, then how do you pay out on an MVP winner who decided the game in extra innings? Quite ridiculous, right? So this got everybody going crazy. Twitter was going insane. I'm pretty sure Caesar's customer service was going nuts. I was very, very frustrated because it impacted my community directly. Um, super, super frustrating about this whole entire situation, right? Because the, it brings up a broader topic of the autonomy that these sports books have to make these decisions. Right now, going through the house rules yesterday of Caesar Sportsbook, there is no language in there that would specify that in an All Star game, all money line bets are for 9 innings. There's no language in there. In fact, the language that is in there states that the outcome is determined by the governing body, which in this case would be MLB or MLB.com. Now, if you go to MLB.com, they will, in fact, report yesterday that the National League did, in fact, win the game. Okay. So, give me 1 second. I'll bring it up because, I always tell you guys don't take my word for it, right? Give me 1 second. Stop screen. Let me show you guys so you guys can look at it. Okay. So yesterday for a little while this said 6-6, right? But obviously it still said below the 6-6 the National League wins tiebreaker, and now MLB.com has reported it as the National League won 7-6. Okay, so if you do if you do follow the governing body, which in this case would be MLB or MLB.com, and it's reported as the National League being the winners, why would there be so much confusion on paying out a bet that is obviously being graded incorrectly, right? But the initial response that we got from the company, right, and in now deleted tweets, is that all money line bets for that game will be voided, as according to house rules, the game was tied after 9 innings, so all bets will be voided. Now, those tweets have now been deleted, right? You can't find them. They've been scrubbed from Twitter. They've been scrubbed from platforms. Uh, and Caesars actually did report even prior to releasing the tweet that they would not be paying out on money line bets for the All Star game. They reported the National League as winners in another now deleted tweet. So it's a bunch of crazy stuff going on, but the biggest theme from this is that these companies, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, BetMGM, wherever you decide to lay your action or sports bet or wherever or gamble, it's quite ridiculous the just the freelance way in which they decide to make decisions, right? Now, Caesars, ironically, yesterday was an outlier because every other betting platform, including FanDuel, DraftKings, they all paid out the MLB All Star Game winner as National League. They all paid that out, and all American League bets were graded as a loss. So, all across the sports betting platforms, for the most case, they got it right. FanDuel, DraftKings, and so on and so forth. But Caesars decided to be unique, put their foot in the ground, and decided they were going to avoid all bets. Now I don't know how exposed they were as far as the action that was coming in for the National League. I don't know what the payout was. I don't know what they were worried about. I don't know why they decided to be the lone moron in this situation and decide to argue something that could not be argued, right? Now the language when you play now, so for those of you, if you bet soccer, right? When you bet soccer, there's an opportunity to bet on a team to win or the game to end in a draw, right? Soccer is unique that way. But if you're gonna say that the bets that were wagered on the money line yesterday on Caesars were in regards to the 9 innings, there should have been an opportunity to bet a draw, right? Because if you're gonna bet a money line winner with no language saying that it's just gonna be for the first 9 innings, and there's no option to bet a draw, I mean, then it's pretty much a free roll for the book. At that, it's just ridiculous. So they had no leg to stand on. I implored everybody to get on Twitter yesterday, to get on whatever platform you have, TikTok, Snapchat, and just kill them. Go after them. Go at them. Flood the comments, flood the call, the customer service, flood everything because this was insane. They should not be allowed to get away with this. And it's crazy when you start digging down the rabbit hole and you'll see that these companies, Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings, they have a very, very big reputation of refusing to pay out bets, right? Because of these ridiculous loopholes. Now, ask you a question. How many times or how often before you place a wager do you find yourself going to the rules and regulations or the house rules in this case and actually trying to decipher the language in regards to the sport that you're betting just to triple and double and quadruple check that it is what you think it is? For the most part, people don't do that because you know why? They attach common sense to it. They say, okay, if I bet on a person or a team to win a game and they win the game, I should get paid. But now what happens is they input this ridiculously confusing language in rules, regulations, house rules that make it very, very difficult for the average person, to actually 100% comprehend exactly what they're trying to say, right? And I think that's done purposely. And last night was a great example of it. So I want to say this. I want to shout out to the community, my community specifically. Um, I want to shout out to everybody who stood on 10 toes, who put the pressure on them yesterday, and who decided that they were going to put their foot in the ground and say, no, you know what? Enough is enough. We're not dealing with this shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. This is ridiculous. This is bogus. Okay. And thankfully, thankfully, the pressure, the heat, the comments, the calls, all of that made an impact because people woke up today or woke up this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, and they realized that Caesars did, in fact, go back, reverse their decision to void the bets, and actually pay out on the National League as the winners of the MLB All Star game. Now, would that have happened if they didn't get all this community pressure from Instagram? If they didn't get the thousands and thousands and millions of calls that was coming in regards to this game? Probably not. Because you know what happens? If you don't check, if you don't double check, if you don't triple check, if you if you don't care, then they're just gonna do and get away with whatever they can get away with. So I want to say salute to everybody. Thank you very much. Because here's the thing: when you decide to let one thing go, and you decide, hey, it's not a big deal, you start making it okay for these companies to kind of do it and try it and continue to attempt to get away with it. So it's important that even if this game didn't directly affect you yesterday and you were just the average fan watching it, it's important for you to stand on what you believe in and what's right, and come together as a community, because these companies, they're too big to fail, right? We're talking about billion-dollar companies. You know, they're making hand over fist. The state, they're in cahoots with the state, with the sports leagues themselves. They really don't care. They don't care. This was an attempt to save face, and this was a come to realization moment for Caesars after they realized that every other betting platform paid it out correctly, and they were the only ones that did not grade it correctly. At that point, the heat was on, their feet were in the fire, and they decided that this wasn't going to be, the the bet that they decided to stand on. Right, this wasn't going to be something that they took to the grave. Right, so shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to the community. This was super, super important. I decided the video was important. It needs to be said, and there's a responsibility on us, on yourself. As I said, to monitor your bets, to check your bets, to double check your bets, and the way that they're graded. Okay, because these companies, they're very slimy, they're very scummy, and they're very scammy, and they will get away with whatever they feel like they can get away with. And last night, it's a celebration right now going on for us because we got one. You know what I'm saying? We got one. Um, it was looking bad for a couple of hours. You know what I mean? As I said, and now deleted tweets, Caesars was really digging their feet in the ground and saying they weren't going to pay it out. But thankfully, they came to their senses, did the right thing. They realized the backlash that they were receiving and the impact it was going to have directly on them as a company and as a sports book. And I felt like that is what implored them to do the right thing, not because they wanted to do the right thing. Because if they wanted to do the right thing, they would have graded it correctly from the beginning instead of attempting to kind of, operate under this loophole, this fraudulent loophole, this invisible loophole that they pretended to have, that wasn't actually accurate or true, and avoid themselves a lawsuit, right? Because people, that was going to be the next option, right? Lawsuit was going to happen, and when a lawsuit does happen, you could do, there's damages now, damages. So it's not just, oh, now you have to pay me out on the bet. No, now you're going to pay damages. Now you're going to pay my lawyer fees. Now this going to be could have been ridiculous. So yeah, shout out to the community, shout out to the people for standing up for what y'all believe in. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate you guys. My community appreciates you guys, and congratulations yesterday on another winner. National League as a slight favorite at -120 to win the game, even though they've only won, I believe, one or two out of the last 12 All-Star games. So you know, they did have a 6-0 lead. It was ridiculous. The National League jumped out to a 6-0 lead, and how ironic that the inning that the National League scores 4 runs, um, the American League comes right back and scores another 4 runs prior or post them celebrating Hank Aaron, who wore number 44 for the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, the All-Star game happened in Atlanta, and then you have, the home team scoring 4 runs, and then the away team scoring 4 runs, honoring Hank Aaron. It was funny as hell to see that. And I actually, as soon as I saw the National League put up 4 runs, I said, here goes the American League coming right back to score 4 runs just to pay homage to Hank Aaron, who wore number 44. So, yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy. A lot of stuff going on last night. But as I said, salute to the community. We got one. It was a winner. As far as, this was the first time I myself, obviously it's been other cases, but I myself, this is my first time that I've seen a community, a group of people come together and stand on something collectively, and put the pressure on, the elites, the, big business, and actually get the result that we wanted. So it's a very, very satisfying day for myself. For people who love to see things like that, movements and communities coming together, it was just an awesome thing to see. So I'm super, super happy about it. And yeah, hopefully we can get the ball moving, and come together on even bigger issues, right? It's ironic how, financials and finances can get people to get off their ass, and speak. But another such issues would be in regards to, rights, or politics, or things like that. People just, to have a lazy approach towards it. But hey, you got to start with something, right? And this was a start. So shout out to everybody. Appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. For those of you that want to support the Patreon, it's at the bottom of your screen right there. Flipping the Script Sports on Patreon. Get all your sports pick, all your parlays, all your futures over there. Thank you very much. Salute to everybody. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love as always. Peace.